Months and months of truce talks have once again hit a dead end. Israel has rejected Hamas's long-term hostage deal proposal, and with it, any hopes for a ceasefire in Gaza. But what was Hamas's proposal, though? And is there any end in sight for the plight of the Palestinians in Gaza? Our next report tells you.
The world is discussing Gaza. Every leader, every country has an opinion. High-stakes meetings are being held almost every day. From the US President Joe Biden to the Chinese President Xi Jinping. They are all talking about a Gaza solution. But is any of this diplomatic hyperactivity helping the besieged Strip's 2 million people? The simple answer is no. People in Gaza continue to live through the horrors. As leaders debate peace proposals that get rejected by Hamas or Israel. This week, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in West Asia. He visited Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Israel. On his final day, the top American diplomat sat down with the Israeli war cabinet. The leaders discussed the war in Gaza and the terms for a possible ceasefire. While Blinken was in Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu ordered the Israeli military to focus on Rafah next.
Our heroic fighters are now fighting in Khan Yunis, the main stronghold of Hamas. We instructed the IDF to prepare to operate also in Rafah and 2 of the refugee camps in the center, the last remaining strongholds of Hamas.
This is the Rafah Netanyahu spoke about, a congested colony near the Egyptian border. Nearly 1 million people are living in Rafah as of today. Majority of them are displaced from their homes after the Israeli attacks. Earlier this week, Netanyahu rejected peace terms set by the Hamas militant group. He called their proposal delusional and said the Israeli actions will continue until Hamas is eradicated. The rejected Hamas proposal included a 3-stage release of all hostages and an exchange of dead bodies. It also envisaged flow of aid to Gaza, withdrawal of the Israeli forces and reconstruction of the besieged Strip. The Hamas plan was in response to a peace deal worked by intel chiefs in Paris 2 weeks ago. With Netanyahu throwing out the proposal, negotiators are back to the drawing board, as Israel refuses to accept peace plans and continues to push further into Gaza. Misery and despair is the only sight visible in Gaza. Helpless and homeless, many people are now living in chicken sheds to save themselves from the cold and Israeli missiles.
We are living in a place meant for animals, where animals live. We have gone down to a level which is less than that of animals. In places like these, where animals are, there would be people taking care of them and feeding them. But unfortunately, we have gone down to a level where no one cares about us. We are down to the level of animals' lives.
The United Nations is now scheduling a review of Israel's treatment of children in Gaza. It says the rights of children living under Israel's effective control have been gravely violated to a level rarely seen in recent history. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres once again raised alarm about the fate of Gazans.
And I'm especially alarmed by reports that the Israeli military intends to focus next on Rafah, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been squeezed in a desperate search for safety. Such an action would exponentially increase what is already a humanitarian nightmare with untold regional consequences.
Israel has refused all claims. It says they are taking steps to avoid civilian casualties. Precautions that, ironically enough, have failed to stop the killings of a reported over 27,000 people in Gaza.